Hey guys, Fletch Football Observer here, and today's video is going to be a Premier League review show reviewing Game 8 of the 2019-2020 season. This round of fixtures threw up some big results, and with big results comes some big talking points. So we're going to get right into it right now. So without further ado, let's begin. We're going to begin with the league leaders Liverpool, who maintained their perfect start to the season following a 2-1 victory over Leicester City. However, they did need an injury time penalty that was converted by James Milner in order to win the game. The Reds opened the scoring 5 minutes before half time when James Milner's pass released Sadio Mane, who went on to find the bottom corner to score his 5th goal of the season. Leicester went on to equalise in the second half when Jose Perez slipped through James Maddison and his strike couldn't be kept out by Adrian, and from there it set up an exciting finale. A finale that resulted in a penalty being awarded to Jurgen Klopp's men, with Brighton tripping Mane in the penalty area. The referee pointed to the spot, and from the resulting spot kick, Milner stepped up and converted from 12 yards as Liverpool went on to make it 8 wins from their first 8 Premier League games. The bottom line here is that Liverpool had the chances to kill this game off and make it a lot more comfortable than it actually turned out to be, but they were rather surprisingly a little wasteful in front of goal in this game. But once again, they found a way to win, and to make the victory even sweeter, Manchester City were beaten by Wolves, meaning that they lose even more ground on the Reds. And before you say anything, yes, it was a penalty, there was clear contact and enough for Mane to fall, and it was clumsy from Brighton in general. As for Leicester, not a great performance, another slight reality check for them here. They were more physical in this game, I thought, attempting to rattle Liverpool, it seemed, with some of the challenges that were flying in, especially the one at the end on Mohamed Salah from Hamza Chowdhury that forced the Egyptian to be substituted. Regardless, Liverpool march on, and when the Premier League does return from the international break, the Reds have a huge game in the form of Manchester United, whilst Leicester will look to bounce back when they host Burnley. Our next game featured a must-win game for both sides as Newcastle ran out 1-0 winners against Manchester United to brighten up the mood amongst the Newcastle supporters and to heap more misery onto the Manchester United faithful. It was a first half where Newcastle had the better of the chances, with Matty Longstaff on his Premier League debut going closest for the Magpies when his strike hit the crossbar, whilst at the other end, Harry Maguire failed to hit the target with a free header. The decisive moment of the game, though, came in the second half when a Newcastle counter-attack ended with Jetro Williams teeing up Matty Longstaff, who fired home beyond David De Gea, a goal that later proved to be the match winner as the Magpies took all 3 points. Clearly a huge result for Newcastle, a much needed result, but now they need to find some sort of consistency, and they can try and begin to find that consistency when they face Chelsea following the international break. As for United, wow, this team is shot of confidence and is playing so poorly and negatively, it's incredible to watch and see it unravel. The Red Devils are currently 12th, they're 2 points off the relegation zone, and to make matters worse, they are facing league leaders Liverpool after the break. It's going to be a long couple of weeks for United and their supporters. Our next game featured arguably the biggest shock of this round of fixtures as Manchester City lost even more ground on league leaders Liverpool at the top of the table following a 2-0 loss to Wolves at the Etihad. It took a while for the deadlock to be broken, but 80 minutes in fact, but eventually Wolves went ahead. A counter-attack by the away side finished with a lovely piece of skill by Raul Jimenez, who then went on to play through Adama Traore, and he slid the ball beyond Ederson and into the back of the net. Wolves and Traore both then got their second of the afternoon deep into injury time when Jimenez again passed the ball to Traore on the halfway line, and the winger raced clear of the City defence and produced another cool finish to put the game to bed, secure the 3 points and leave City and Guardiola 8 points off of Liverpool at the top of the table. No Laporte, no Stones, no De Bruyne, and no win for City here. Simply put, I think City is slowly starting to lose a little bit of the fear factor. Teams are beginning to realise you can get at this City team, especially in their defence, and cause them problems, and it's only going to continue going forward. But full credit to Wolves here. They had a game plan and they played incredibly well to win this game, and now they seem to be beginning to show a little bit of the Wolves of last season, but it's whether or not they can maintain this level of consistency. City will be looking to bounce back when they travel to Crystal Palace in their next fixture, whilst Wolves will look to make it 3 wins on the bounce when they face Southampton at Molineux. Our next game featured a David Luiz header as he proved to be the difference maker as Arsenal secured their 4th win of the season at the Emirates against Bournemouth. The only goal of the game came within the opening 10 minutes when Luiz headed home Nicolas Pepe's corner. From there though, Bournemouth did have the better of the chances, with Dominic Solanke and Callum Wilson in particular both going close, but fortunately for Arsenal, neither found the back of the net as Arsenal managed to hold on for the victory and the clean sheet. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't entirely exciting, but Arsenal got the job done. They get the 3 points and they will be happy with that, but they will want to review the performance and address certain things. But going into the international break, they can certainly do that and refocus and turn their attention to facing Sheffield United when club football returns. As for Bournemouth, bit of a knockback down to earth. They weren't exactly terrible in this game, but their clinical edge disappeared for this fixture, and they will want to get that back for their next game, which is against Norwich at the Vitality Stadium. Our next game saw Chelsea make it back-to-back wins following a 4-1 victory over Southampton at St Mary's. The Blues drew first blood inside the opening 20 minutes when Callum Hudson-Odoi's long ball found Tammy Abraham's run, and his lobbed shot managed to cross the goal line despite the best efforts of Maya Yoshida, who spectacularly cleared the ball. However, the referee, thanks to goal line technology, awarded the goal. Not long after, the Blues doubled their lead. Willian slipped through Mason Mount and he fired home from close range. On the half-hour mark though, Southampton did manage to half the deficit when Danny Ings poked home Jan Valerie's cutback, but 10 minutes later the Blues restored their 2-goal cushion when N'Golo Kante's deflected strike found the back of the net. And then, following a second half in which Chelsea controlled the game, they managed to add a 4th goal when Christian Pulisic's played through Michy Batshuayi and he fired through the legs of Angus Gunn in the Saints' goal as Chelsea claimed their 4th win of the season. Not for the first time this season, Southampton again the makers of their own downfall. The defensive errors in this game that they created themselves cost them. The number of times they shot themselves in the foot was huge, and this scoreline could have been more in all honesty. This situation needs to be addressed as soon as possible, and maybe for them the international break at this point has come at the right time, as this result now means they're on a 3-game losing streak. As for Chelsea, another game, another host of goals, another win, and things are certainly looking up for Frank Lampard and his Chelsea side. Southampton travel to Molineux to face Wolves in their next league game, whilst Chelsea entertain Newcastle at Stamford Bridge following the international break. Our next game saw Brighton add more misery to Tottenham after what has been already a dreadful week for Spurs following a 3-0 Seagulls victory at the Amex Stadium. Following Tottenham's midweek thumping at the hands of Bayern Munich in the Champions League, the Spurs supporters were looking for a response from their club. However, within the opening few minutes of the game, the away side found themselves a goal down. Pascal Gross's cross was dropped by Hugo Lloris, and Neal Maupay had the simplest of tasks of scoring an open goal to open the scoring. Things got worse for Spurs when it was revealed that Lloris had suffered an injury in the build-up to that goal in the attempt to catch that particular cross, and he was stretchered off and therefore substituted. The Seagulls then doubled their lead shortly after the half-hour mark when Aaron Connolly struck home at the second time of asking, and in the second half, the youngster got his second and Brighton's third of the afternoon, cutting inside from the left and firing into the back of the net to completely kill the game off, secure the 3 points for the home side, and make this week one to forget if you're a Tottenham fan. Well, I certainly didn't see this coming. A Brighton win before kick-off wasn't completely out of the question, but the scoreline was something that was completely bizarre and crazy. Brighton secured their first victory since the opening weekend of the season and will now be looking to reignite their campaign following this result. As for Spurs, a truly terrible week, conceding 10 goals in 2 games. More questions need to be asked of Mauricio Pochettino. It appears this project is now nearing its end. He's taken them as far as he can, it seems, and maybe it's time to freshen things up a little bit. There are bigger problems and issues behind the scenes at Spurs, I'm sure, than what we're seeing on the pitch, and maybe the international break has come at the right time for them. Brighton will be looking to make it back-to-back wins in their next Premier League game, which is against Aston Villa, whilst Tottenham will be looking to bounce back against Watford at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Our next game saw Burnley edge out 10-man Everton by a goal to nil at Turf Moor to pick up their third win of the season. Both sides couldn't really create any clear-cut chances in the first half, and then in the second half, the Toffees were reduced to 10 men, with Seamus Coleman being sent off for a second bookable offence, following his challenge on Dwight McNeil. The Clarets did manage to take advantage of having the extra man later in the second half when Ashley Westwood's corner was met by Jeff Hendrick, who smashed home a volley, a goal which proved to be the difference maker, a goal that won Burnley the match, and a goal that heaps more pressure onto Everton and Marco Silva. A great win for Burnley here. They got what they needed, although it wasn't too convincing, but they managed to get the job done nonetheless, and credit goes to them for that. As for Everton, another poor result. This now makes it 4 straight defeats for them in the league. They are down in the relegation zone as things stand, and maybe for them, the international break has come at the right time. They have some huge fixtures coming up, and if Marco Silva is not careful, he could be out of the job before we even hit December, or maybe even worse, November. Burnley travel to Leicester in their next game following the break, whilst Everton face a tough test when they clash with West Ham. Aston Villa got their second win of the season in emphatic style as they ran and riot at Carrow Road, smashing Norwich 5-1 on Saturday afternoon. Wesley got the ball rolling for the away side when he collected Anwar El Ghazi's cross before scoring from close range. On the half-hour mark, both Wesley and Villa doubled their goal tally for the afternoon when the striker's simple tap-in from close range found the back of the net after Conor Hourihane's low cross picked him out. Wesley then had the opportunity to complete his hat-trick from the penalty spot when Kenny McLean brought down Hourihane in the penalty area, but from the resulting spot kick he was denied by Michael McGovern. Shortly after the restart though, Villa did manage to get their third goal of the afternoon when Jack Grealish fired into the back of the net, and they went on to add a fourth on the hour mark, with Conor Hourihane himself getting on the score sheet with a fine strike. And to round off the Villa goal scoring, Douglas Luiz got Villa's fifth with a superb curling effort that found the top corner. The Canaries did manage to grab a late consolation through Josip Drumic, but it didn't matter as Villa were lethal and deservedly got the 3 points they really did need. Truly a fantastic performance and a fantastic result by Villa. It felt like the frustration that they've been picking up through the last few results was unleashed here to devastating effect on a Norwich defence that didn't look confident or steady at all. The key now is to find a level of consistency. Things are so tight in this league table, outside of the top spot that is, that a single win catapults you right up the league table. So all to play for there. As for Norwich, another bad day at the office. Things haven't been right for them ever since that extraordinary result against Manchester City, and this result now takes their losing streak up to 3 on the bounce. Norwich will be hoping to get back to winning ways when they face Bournemouth, whilst Villa will be looking for back-to-back wins when they host Brighton following the international break. And in our penultimate game, VAR was again in the spotlight for the right reasons this time at the London Stadium, as Crystal Palace fought back from a goal down to beat West Ham 2-1 in Saturday's evening fixture. In a game that lacked quality, in a rare moment of it, West Ham did manage to score. It was about 10 minutes after the interval that the Hammers broke the deadlock, with a nice West Ham team move was ended with Ryan Fredericks picking out Sebastian Aller, and the striker swept the ball home. The lead, however, didn't last too long, as soon after Palace equalised. Declan Rice handled in the penalty area and the referee pointed to the spot, and from the resulting spot kick, Patrick Van Arnold stepped up and converted from 12 yards to set up an interesting finale. And with only minutes remaining in the game, Palace did go on to find the net for the second time. Martin Kelly's knockdown from an Andros Townsend cross was latched onto by Jordan Ayew, who fired home. But the goal was originally ruled out for offside and was taken to VAR. VAR checked the goal, and after surviving 2 different offside checks, the decision was overturned and the goal was allowed to stand, and from there Palace saw the game out, taking all 3 points and ending West Ham's 7-game unbeaten streak in the process. West Ham's reality check came in the form of Crystal Palace, but it wasn't exactly a great game to watch. The quality was poor at times, and to be honest, the dull draw that this game seemed to be heading towards may have seemed like a fairer result. But as it happened, Palace took their chance at the end and secured a great result and continued to surprise many people with how well they began this season. West Ham will look to bounce back following the break when the Hammers clash with Everton, whilst Palace face a tough task when they host Manchester City. And in our final game, a goalless stalemate played out at Vicarage Road as both Watford and Sheffield United were forced to share the spoils. It was the home side who had the better of the chances, but they couldn't convert, as first Andre Gray missed an open goal from Roberto Pereira's cross. Then Danny Welbeck couldn't finish past Dean Henderson in the Blades goal on a 1v1 situation. And then Craig Dawson saw his free header saved by Henderson too, whilst the Blades created a few half chances, but nothing clear cut, with a strike from Callum Robinson that stung the hands of Ben Foster being the only real chance of note, as both sides were forced to settle for a point apiece. Clearly, this was not the best game of football over the weekend, and even more clearly, this was not the result that Watford were wanting. They do get another point on the board, but still no win this season, and the pressure and the misery continues to grow and evolve at Watford, whilst for Sheffield United, they maybe could have seized more of the game and saw Watford there for their taking, but as it is, it's another point towards Premier League safety, and both sides will want to move on quickly from this game. Following the international break, Watford travel to face Tottenham, while Sheffield United are back at Bramall Lane as they host Arsenal. And that wraps up the Premier League review show for Game 8 of the 2019-2020 season. Guys, if you have any thoughts or comments on any of the round's big talking points or any of the round's results, I'd love to read them in the comment section below. Otherwise, hit that like button on the way out if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things will be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch, Football Observer. This has been another Premier League review show, and I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video.